This is a snake plant, and in this video, I'm going to share with you how to care for this stunning houseplant that claims its presence in any space. By the time this video is over, you'll know exactly what to do to get it to thrive. I'll share with you everything I do to care for my snake plants. Also, stick around till the end. The last 2 tips will make sure you never kill a snake plant. Get ready, give this video a like, and let's get into it. Okay, so first thing we want to talk about is choosing your plant at the nursery. If you start with a clean and healthy plant, it'll save you a ton of cash, headaches, and heartache. So whatever you do, don't skip this step. If you already have a snake plant, just stay with me. I promise the information in this video will be well worth it. So when you're looking to purchase a snake plant, one of the most important things to look for are these round blemishes. These all too common spots are caused by disease. And if you see this, then look elsewhere. It's not worth the hassle to try and get rid of it. Even professional nurserymen have a hard time with it, and chances are you will too. So just stay away from it. You'll thank me later. If you see any cracks on the leaves, as long as you don't see any black or brown coming out of them, it's okay to purchase them as long as you can live with the scar. Just remember, plants are not plastic, they have imperfections, and these small blemishes is what makes each one who they are. I guess look at them as battle scars. We all have them. So when we find one that's just right, let's go a little further and continue to check for pests and check the roots. And make sure that they're pest-free and healthy as well. They should be a whitish tan like these and not have any foul smell to them, which could be a sign of root rot. Okay, so now we bought our plant and we brought it home, and we want to make sure it has proper lighting. Snake plants thrive in a variety of lighting conditions, which makes them easy to adapt to different areas in our homes, with optimal placement being near a window with bright indirect light. However, they can also tolerate low light conditions, making them ideal for offices or rooms with less natural light. Just keep in mind that they won't grow as fast in the lower light. Over time, the leaves will tend to grow thinner, and if it's a variegated variety, they'll tend to lose the variegation. If you want your snake plant to be all it can be, then consider investing in a grow light. There are a bunch of them out there that not only can give them the lighting they need, but they're affordable and aesthetically pleasing in our homes. In regards to too much light, they can tolerate direct sunlight, but if this is your end goal, make sure you acclimate them to this exposure. Grabbing your snake plant and letting it fend for itself against Mother Nature after being babied indoors can scorch the leaves if done too quickly. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like to know more on how to acclimate your houseplants to higher lighting conditions. Now, most snake plants grow upright, so they don't collect as much dust as, let's say, a monstera, but we still need to keep the leaves clean so our plant can photosynthesize and stay happy and healthy. A simple way to do this is every couple weeks, depending on how much dust is in your home, fill a spray bottle with water, spray the leaves, and gently wipe the leaves of any dust with a microfiber cloth, making sure to dry the leaves completely. This also is a good time to inspect our plants and look for pest or disease. If you see anything, take care of it immediately. Also, take a little time to look at the roots, looking for pests there as well, root rot, or even if it's root bound, keeping in mind that the snake plant's roots like to be snug in the pot, so what may be root bound for another plant may not be for the snake plant. A clear, transparent pot out in the open, or even in a decorative pot, will make it a little easier to see the roots and not have to remove the pot, so consider repotting them in a clear pot when it's time. Okay, so how do you feed your snake plant? It's simple. During their active growing season, typically in spring and summer, aim to fertilize your snake plant only once a month. They don't need a constant buffet, just a balanced, measured approach to keep them nourished. When it comes to choosing a fertilizer for your snake plant, opt for a general houseplant fertilizer. Look for one with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and micronutrients. This will provide a well-rounded meal for your snake plant, ensuring that its essential needs are all met and we prevent any deficiencies. I start by diluting the fertilizer according to the manufacturer's instructions, mixing it up, and applying it over the top after I water my plant. Key here is after I water my plant, which I'll discuss in a second how I water them. By fertilizing after I've watered my plant, I ensure that all the soil is moist and that there are no dry pockets or channels of soil in the pot. Watering before fertilizing reduces the chances of burning my roots with a high concentration of fertilizer. So now let's talk watering, and this is the #1 reason plant parents end up killing their snake plant, and I don't want you to do the same. It's overwatering. Not watering too much, but rather watering too often. See, it's okay to soak your snake plants in water. Actually, I bottom water mine every time I water, and I do the same for even my smaller rooted cuttings once roots start to appear. It's all about timing and resisting the urge to water them. Try not to be one of those helicopter plant parents with a snake plant. Instead, create a schedule, not when to water your plant, but rather when to check if it needs water, and only water when the soil is 100% dry. You can check the level of moisture by using a moisture meter and water when completely dry, or a wooden dowel works just as well. Stick it in the soil soil, don't worry about the roots, they'll be okay, there's plenty of them. And if the dowel's moist, then no need to water. If it's dry, then saturate the soil. Like I said before, I bottom water mine to make sure the soil is completely saturated, as the traditional method of watering from the top can lead to dry pockets in the soil and your plant not receiving sufficient water, just like you're seeing here. To bottom water them, fill a bowl with water and gently put your snake plant in the water. Wait about 10 to 15 minutes and take it out. Make sure you tilt the pot to let any excess water drain, and that's it. As your plant grows, it'll need to be repotted, so let me share with you what's worked for me. To start off with, snake plants, as I said before, they like to be snug in the pot, so you won't have to step them up as often as you will other plants. And because of this, you might only find yourself having to repot them every 2 to 3 years, but it really all depends on the environment the snake plant is being kept in and the care it's being given. A plant that's living in a low light area of the home will need to be repotted much less frequently than one that's growing on a windowsill in bright indirect light. The one in the higher lighting condition will grow faster and need to be stepped up sooner. A couple signs you want to look for when trying to determine if your snake plant needs to be repotted is that, for one, the soil has become compact, which means less aeration in the soil, which goes right along with poor drainage of the soil. If the current soil mix doesn't have proper drainage, whether because it's older or the wrong mix was used from the start, it can lead to issues like root rot. If you find that the soil is consistently staying wet or the plant is showing signs of overwatering, it's a sign that repotting into a soil mix with adequate drainage is necessary. Also, if you notice that your snake plant is growing slowly or not growing at all, it's probably time for a repot. And the best way to know for sure is to flip the plant over and remove the pot, or see it through a clear pot, and look to see if the roots are circling in the pot or even popping out of the drainage holes. Snake plants like the roots compact, so in a lot of cases you might even see the pot bulging all around like you're starting to see here. So here's how you do it, and this is the next tip you want to always consider when stepping up a snake plant, or any plant for that matter, so you don't kill it. Only use a pot that's 1 to 2 inches larger in diameter than the existing pot for smaller plants, and for larger plants, just go the next size up. And here's why. If you repot into a container that's too large, you'll also need a lot of soil to fill that pot. All this extra soil will remain moist longer since there aren't enough roots to absorb this extra water. This will eventually lead to root rot, which will then kill your snake plant. So please write down this one lesson I've learned so you don't forget it. And now let's get back to repotting. A couple days before I actually repot, I like to water my plant so I can give it the best chance to survive this change from one environment to another. It could easily shock or even kill the plant, so every precaution counts. Next, purchase or make your own soil. I like to make my own and add core and or peat to hold on to the water, and pine bark, perlite, and sand to provide proper drainage. Then put a small amount of soil in the bottom of the new pot, enough so that the top of the root ball is just below the top of the new pot. Take our plant out of the container, and if it's root bound, you can break up the root ball a bit. Continue to add soil all around, making sure that the plant is centered in the pot and slightly compacting the soil, just enough to keep the plant in place. From here, I like to water the plant if the mix is dry. This will give it its first watering, and then I'll treat it like I do other snake plants, which is to water when the soil is 100% dry. Now, if you really want to become a snake charmer of snake plants, watch this video in which I explain in detail the 3 methods you can use to propagate them. You can grow more plants for yourself or to share and have a great time doing it.